Welcome to CIO Leadership Live. I'm Lee Rennick, Executive Director of CIO Communities for CIO.com, and I'm very excited and honored to welcome Annette Cooper, Director of Data Analytics at Graham, to the show today. Annette, could you please introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about your current role?
Yeah, so as you said, I'm Annette Cooper. I'm the Director of Data and Analytics here at Graham Construction. So Graham is one of the largest construction companies in Canada, and we also have a pretty big presence down in the United States. My role is leading the data and analytics practice here, and I've been at Graham about 3 years, and I was the first one of me. So data and analytics is new to Graham, and we're all going on the journey together.
That is wonderful. That must be incredible. Well, I really appreciate you joining us here today, Annette. Thank you so much. So we've developed this series to support the technology leader in their tech and leadership journey. So first question, and I ask everyone this question, could you please tell us a little bit about your own career path and leadership journey to date? Any lessons learned along the way that you could share, and just sharing generally about your journey so far?
I think that the lesson at the end of it all, I'll do that first, is there's no one way to have a career path, particularly not in IT. And when I started out working 20 years ago, there wasn't really even this role that I'm sitting in now. So I think the biggest lesson is, do it your way. There's no pathway, there's no prescription. So I started off as a researcher working in academics, very much on the analysis side of the data world, and then ended up working in central government in New Zealand for a long time as a policy researcher. And then I got offered the opportunity to move into a leadership role. And I think that's where I found my first real fit, or feeling like that was something that I did really well and something that I really enjoyed and could bring skill to. And then I've sort of grown from there. So much like I said, it's been a very non-linear, millennial style kind of twisty turny career, and I've followed my interests, and I've also followed other leaders that I thought were people that I could learn from, and as opportunities have come along, I've taken them. So I moved away from government and into core technology like I am now, because it was something that I hadn't done before, and it was something that interests me. So just leveraging the wide range of skills that I had, sort of in and around other leaders that I was interested in learning from.
I love that. And, you have a lot of experience in different areas, especially government, but I'm sure there's a lot of process and ways of processing things and developing things that were very different to how you do things now. But it probably helps and impacts on your role, there at Graham.
Every different place that I've worked has given me a slightly different way of looking at the world, and also a slightly different set of skills for analyzing how to get things done. Is this a place where we're really focused on process? Is this a place where we're really focused on relationship? What matters to the people sitting at the top table? That's the same whether you're working for an elected official or the people that I work for here. So yeah, it's all just about that skill of how do you get done what you need to get done. And the diversity of my experience has given me lots of opportunities to flex that muscle.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And congratulations to Graham on the CIO Canada award-winning project on enterprise data. So I would love to learn a little bit more about the project and maybe how it transformed the business.
Yeah, so enterprise data platform was a great big audacious goal that I set when I came in about 3 years ago. We, as a business, were a little bit behind on some of our use of data, and I think that's probably just the reality of a lot of businesses. We all like to talk about that we're really data enabled, but reality is, right? It costs money and it takes time. So because Graham has grown significantly through merger and acquisition, one of the key things was we needed a platform that was going to be agnostic to our main ERPs or the ERPs of all the other things. We wanted to have something that was data specific. So we went about building the platform itself, where we could bring information from across all of our merged organizations and across Graham's disparate systems together in a place that we could use it particularly focused on operations. So project operations, building bridges, building giant high rises, the stuff we do at Graham. The other thing that in and of itself was a big task, but the other thing was about how do you get that out to people in a way that is useful and usable and recognizing the challenges of the folks in our field. So they're not sitting at desks all day long. So we also built what we refer to as our Insights Hub. So that's the thing that sits on top of the enterprise data platform. That's where all of our reports are that we've built. And that sits on our gateway, which is our main intranet. And people can access the information through there. The other thing I'm really proud of about enterprise data platform is that we've taken a product approach to how we think about data. So we're not building reports and putting them out there and hoping someone wants them. We've brought product thinking in. So every report is its own product. It needs a product owner. We've also brought design in to make the lives of our users easier. Well-designed products make the world easier for our users. So all of that has been going on in the background while we've also been building pipes and things like that. So it's been impactful to the business in the sense that it's radically different to where we were. Like it is a big step forward. And because we're laying the groundwork for the importance of thinking about reports as living things. As our business changes, our data needs change, and thinking about the importance of design in all of our technology operations. So that's what I'm most proud of.
Wow, congratulations, and congratulations on the award. I mean, we really pride ourselves on developing these awards so we can showcase projects like this. And I think this is such an important one. We didn't have this one planned, but I mean, obviously, with the year being a lot about generative AI for a lot of companies, this idea of data and enterprise data and pulling that all together and how you use that is such an important, from what I'm hearing from CIOs, is such an important piece to having successful AI platforms and building out anything you might want to. So sounds like you laid down some great not groundwork, but, implementing great strategies, an end goal, and then also making sure that user had that amazing experience with it. So congratulations on that. Any thoughts around that, just around how you might be planning for Gen AI and things like that?
You can't do anything if you don't have the pipes in the ground, right? And I think that's one of the benefits of working at a construction company, was an easy analogy to make to people.
Right.
So you cannot build a 60-story skyrise on top of an open pit. So we are building the foundation for all data work in the future at Graham. Generative AI, whatever it is, whatever is most important to the business.
Yeah.
We chose a tool that could manage structured and unstructured data. We're not using any unstructured data at the moment, but we wanted to future-proof ourselves there. Again, taking the long-term view and doing the boring, hard work of getting everything where it needs to be.
Okay, so this segues very well into the next question perfectly, which is around the role of the senior tech leader or the tech leader. So we release every year a State of the CIO report. When we interviewed 1,100 CIOs globally about their roles, 79% of tech leaders said that the CIO has an educational partnership with the CEO and the board of directors. Now, you just talked about that, how you're describing and explaining these projects, but what are your thoughts on that, given the scope of the project you led?
I am lucky. I have a close relationship and a lot of access to our senior executive team, and that's helpful when you're talking about budgets and funding and big picture thinking about what we want to do. But I would say the real people that I needed to influence were that next layer down, because those are the people who are operationally in charge of parts of our organization, right? And those are the people who have the real ability to go or not go when we're talking about change and change management. So that's been part of the product thinking, was bringing those people at a director or a VP level in to work with us to lead the development of what was important to their part of the business, rather than leaving all of those decisions to the executive, who are really too far away in some cases from the actual work that's being done in a practical sense and what's going to be helpful to our operations folks on site. So I think it's important to have a relationship with your senior leaders and your CEO, and you definitely have that. But I also think that in and of itself is not enough to be a successful technology leader. You want to be building partnerships with people where you're seen as a strategic partner in their thinking, and being brought early into, hey, I think we've got a problem here. We don't quite know what to do. Who can we talk to? I think your technology leaders, you want to be the people they're coming to talk to.
I love that analogy. Thank you so much. I think that's so important. I was just having a discussion with someone today about, chief marketing officers, and, we were saying, well, the people that are outputting the social media or doing this, working on the CRM and all of that stuff, sometimes that person at the highest level they know what's going on, but it's all the other people that are involved that really help create this interaction with the organization. So I appreciate you sharing that very, very much, actually. I think it'll be beneficial to anyone listening in on this interview. All right, so you're very passionate about building diverse teams. I work a lot in this area, working with some of our research teams around this, talking to CIOs about how they're helping to support those that are starting their careers, especially in the Canadian market here. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm an immigrant and a woman and a member of the LGBTQ community. And you can't be what you can't see, right? So growing up as a young kid in New Zealand, there were very limited view of what a career looked like. I think technology for a long time leadership for a long time has been very much a male-dominated society, and that's true here in construction too. We're still very much there.
Yeah.
But I'm passionate about diversity because diverse teams bring diverse skills and diverse ways of looking at things. And back to our product mentality, when you bring a bunch of different people into a room with different ideas, you get a better product out of it. You get a better, you also give people the opportunity to learn how to collaborate with others who are different to them, and to make a team that really gels nicely together. That's the difference that brings us together. Yeah. I'm passionate about getting more women into technology because I think the whole place would be better. I think every place is better when we have more women in it, particularly in leadership roles. So I do whatever I can to support young women. And again, I understand the immigrant experience. So I think all of those things are important. And I think opening your eyes up to the talent that's out there, people who aren't taking this view, I think are just missing out on good candidates and good people.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I just interviewed Lucy Ho, who's the founder and executive director of Hacker Gal. So they're working with younger girls, getting them into technology, letting them feel safe in the space. They're learning how to code and do all sorts of really amazing things. And I also interviewed Christine Bongard, who's the CEO of the WIT Network, and they're an organization that supports women in tech, and really about that, what you just talked about, the diversity of all the skills you bring to the table. Usually women are more on that track because they take more of a different type of approach to that end career. And so they, really work globally to support women in technology and just building out their skills, but also having that opportunity to network. And I think it's so important. So I appreciate your insights in this area. It's so important to really, I think, for any business to really be successful, to look at those teams and how they're building out their diverse teams. So I appreciate your insights.
I would especially say nowadays, right, when we're hearing of companies sort of contracting and things like that. Yeah. Like if you're just doing things the same way you've always, I mean, I'm a millennial and I'm middle-aged, right? If you're just doing things the same way you've always done them, then you won't be around much longer.
Yeah.
The generationally young people want different things.
Yep.
And I think it's just a big missed opportunity to not be taking a broader net when you are thinking about hiring. I've never met another immigrant who hasn't been incredibly hardworking, because in order just to get here, you have to be hardworking.
Yes.
So just wonderful people. And I think it's a shame if you miss out. We're also lucky here in Calgary. We have Toast is based here, which is a women in IT recruitment company who are awesome. Nice. And do an amazing job of like helping other women into great roles. So I think it's shifted in the last few years, and I hope to be part of that continued shift.
Thank you so much for doing that and being engaged in and explaining why it's so important. I really appreciate that. All right, so we're recording this in December 2025. It's just around the corner. Any predictions on how you see technology and continue to lead and impact business?
Technology is here to stay. I think the biggest honest struggle for businesses is managing cost. So, we talk about, or a lot of people talking about Gen AI all the time. If you don't have a use case for it that's fundamentally important to your business, you will spend a lot of money to get nowhere. So I think that the technology leader 2026, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, there's a lot of shiny, whizzy things, but managing cost for your business, I think that is the thing that once we get over this AI hype cycle and we come down the other side, and I'm looking forward to coming down the other side, there's going to be a lot of people cutting programs that are too expensive. So for me, and others that I talk to in my kinds of roles, that's what we're thinking about. How are we managing cost to still deliver as much business value as we can without blowing that budget way out?
Well, I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much, Annette, for being here on the show today. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
It was wonderful. And if you're interested in watching this or other videos, head on over to cio.com/CA. Thanks again.